GearNetwork.com.
This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Gear Network presents the Football Talk Weekly Podcast with John Cimino and Brandon Gorell. And now, here's John.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to what is the season finale of the Football Talk Weekly Podcast. Boom, 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 boom. But don't cry, don't worry, because we'll be back sooner than you think. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. How's it going? My name is John Cimino. I am at the JC Money on the Twitter, and joined here, of course, wearing his North Face hat, is my better half in the podcast, Mr. Brandon Gorell. Brandon,
an eyesore this week?
Say hello. Oh, you're the eyesore every week.
You know, all misty over here.
Trying
in
to,
this last
hey,
podcast.
listen.
Being all
You know
nice
what?
to me and stuff.
I'm being nice. Listen. I'm finally getting over the illness that plagued me the past 2.5 weeks, and I'm feeling good.
All right.
So, all right, but we are here to talk some football. But first, I got to pay some bills. Shall I? I think I will.
You shall.
Shopgear.com. Thank you. Okay, Super Bowl 51
Yes.
in the books, Brandon, and
It's pretty great.
And I have to say, I like probably 90% of the viewing audience sat there and watched the game. Like, a lot of people turned it off at the half. I didn't turn it off at the half. I was watching, but I was like stunned. It was kind of an awkward, like, stunned silence.
Like, what did I just see?
Like, I could not believe what I was seeing.
Like when Tyson bit off Holyfield's ear. You were like,
Right.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
What just happened?
Is
that real life?
The Patriots team that I saw that first half, I don't recall seeing a Patriots team like that since the early 90s. I mean, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great. They had some bad breaks. You know, they didn't help themselves, but they moved the ball pretty well. But you had Blunt's fumble that switched the momentum. I mean, they were going down to get the first score.
Yep, the pick six. Then after that,
then the pick six right after that. It just kind of snowballed.
It did.
But instead of packing their balls and going home, they showed up second half. And
So when XYZ amount of people turned off the TV after the Lady Gaga,
I was getting ready to start tuning out after Gostowski missed that extra point. I'm like, it's just things are just not going to work.
When that happened, I was
hoping for like an epic comeback. I was like, come on, Brady, you can't go out like this.
I mean, it was uncomfortable for me to watch even as a non-Patriots fan. I was kind of like, really?
It was like the Broncos 2 years
it?
ago when they got blown out by the Seahawks.
Right.
I just kind of felt bad.
Right.
For them.
Like in that Super Bowl, and that was a great year for Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
You know, he set the touchdown record again, and he blown out, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
this sucks.
It started early, and
I painted my bedroom.
Snowballed from there.
I painted my bedroom, and it was like, and that was it. But if you turned off the TV, boy, did you miss something. Big comeback.
Big comeback.
Major, big league comeback. 31 unanswered points. The Falcons led at one point 28-3 in the third quarter. And then 31 unanswered points later, the New England Patriots win their fifth Super Bowl 34-28. Tom Brady, listen to this. 43 of 62. 466 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He not only sets the Super Bowl record for wins by a quarterback, but he also sets a Super Bowl record for yards in the game.
What about pass attempts? That's got to be a record too, right?
I only took those two things.
I mean,
there was a laundry
62.
list. Then there was a fella by the name of James White.
Yeah.
6 rushing attempts, 29 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You're like, oh, what a shitty day as your running back, 29 yards.
And you're thinking of that, but then you look at the other side. 14 receptions, Super Bowl record, for 110 yards and 1 touchdown.
Like, that's more receptions than Jerry.
That to me is incredible. Now, Tom Brady named the Super Bowl MVP.
Right. As he should be, but James White.
He should be, but I'm more on the side of Brady with this, where he's like, yeah, James White kind of really deserved it. I mean, it could have really gone.
Never take credit for anything.
It could have really gone either way with that.
The high road on everything. He's Mr. Nice. Like even when who was the first guy that got the interview with him at Fox?
Terry Bradshaw?
No, before, like, when he was on the field, before he got on the podium. Bradshaw got him there. It was like Chris, what's his face?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Schmuck. He got him on the field, and he started talking about the controversies, and Tom cut him right off. He's like, I'm not going to go there. This is all love. This was a great time. We did it all because, for positivity. He's like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
He just won't go there. And he always gives credit to the other team. He always gives credit to his own players. He never takes it himself, even though he is the greatest quarterback that's ever laced him up. I mean, it's not even questionable. I mean,
no,
you go Mount Rushmore. You got him, Montana, possibly Unitas, and maybe Bart Starr. I would say those four.
As far as quarterbacks go, But I mean, I would even put him on the all-time.
He's in the Washington character, like. He's in the Washington territory.
I would put him not just on all-time quarterbacks, but I would talk about all-time football players like him. Yeah. Jerry Rice, in my opinion, is still the greatest football player to ever play.
And then probably Emmitt Smith or Walter Payton.
Then Brady.
Yeah.
He's at that level.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Now, I don't agree with the stupid Michael Irvin assessment of, well, he won his 5th Super Bowl. Maybe he should name the trophy the Vince Lombardi Bill Belichick trophy.
Right. And then when somebody wins 6 later on, we have to change it again. It's like, no, it's the Vince Lombardi trophy.
I don't agree with that. However, Bill Belichick, hands down, whether or not you like him, and there's a lot of people that don't like him. Mm-hmm. Marshall Faulk throwing some shade in his way. Still not over the 2001 Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, whatever. He's a little bitch.
Spygate, Deflategate.
Deflategate
all
was
that
a crock of shit.
All that aside,
yeah,
Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in the history of the National Football League.
Yeah.
And that includes Don Shula, who had the only undefeated season, the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
Shula's a great coach. Landry is a great coach. Noel's a great coach. Walsh is a great coach.
Bill Belichick's,
I think, above
he is above them, and the reason why, in my opinion, and I'll turn this to you, you might probably agree with this too, is the fact that his sustained winning has come at a time where free agents can go anywhere they want, make millions and millions and millions of dollars. They can go to crap teams like Cleveland and get paid and do nothing. And Belichick still continues to win.
Right.
True dynasty. What do you think?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I was going to say to that point, too, Spygate. There's been there's such a microscope. There's such an eye on that team and that coach. This is a team that does not go out, spend tons of money on free agents. Like, their real last big free agent splash was Randy Moss. And Randy Moss was at a point where nobody wanted him anymore. And that's how he ended up with the Patriots, because everyone was kind of done with him, and they were done with Zach. He was a washout in Oakland. And, people were saying his career's done, so Belichick's like, we'll give him a shot. Kick the tires on him. We'll see how he does. Mm-hmm. And he has no problem pulling you in and saying, okay, you perform and you stick in our system and you do your job, you will stay here. And you will succeed.
And he did succeed.
He did.
Until he stared kind of veering away from that.
Right.
And mid-season trade, he was gone.
See you out the door. And that's what he does with these guys. He's not afraid to cut people if they're not buying into the system. They're not doing their job.
Chad Ochocinco.
Chandler Jones, just did that to him. Sent him to Cleveland mid-season.
Yep.
Went from best team in the league to the worst team in the league in a heartbeat. And he has no problem with it. And then he goes and does it, and then they still go and win the Super Bowl.
Right.
They lose draft picks. They still draft good guys. they go out and draft Julian Edelman, who was a quarterback in college, and look what he's become, Brady's number one target.
Yep.
They grab Danny Amendola off the scrap heap. Rob Gronkowski goes down. They know they got some injury problems with Gronkowski. They go get Martellus Bennett. Good tight end. Running backs.
I mean, Bennett wasn't a household name either.
He wasn't.
It was just
LeGarrette Blount. Guy that, was notorious for punching a guy in the face in college.
ran out of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, ran out of Tampa Bay. What did he go to Pittsburgh for a little bit?
He went from Tampa to New England. Okay. And then he tested the free agent market, went to Pittsburgh, got cut.
And then came back.
He got cut because of his something, and then he came back, and he's been with New England since.
And then what did he do?
And for someone
rushed for 18 touchdowns this season.
Right. Well, but for someone like him, that situation clearly is the best situation for him as a person. Right. You know what I mean? There's enough respect.
It's got the structure.
Right.
There's the structure there, the system, and it's easy for him to...
The discipline as well.
Right.
Because I'm sure Belichick doesn't put up with his crap either.
No, he doesn't put up with anybody's crap. And if you think you're bigger than the team, you're gone. And that's the one thing that he does that I think nobody else is really good at. Some guys are like, well, we'll just tolerate this. We'll see if we can work around it. We'll see if we can, help the guy out, protect him. Belichick's like, get the fuck out of here. You're an adult. That's a toasty, by the way.
Yeah. I think I might let I might let the S word slide this week, but the F word, probably not.
So
we'll see how I feel.
He has no problem saying, get out. If you're not part of the system, if you're not contributing to this team as a team,
right,
then you don't belong here. And that's why his teams win every year, no matter who gets hurt. I mean, Brady got hurt that one season. Castle came in.
Yep.
And they missed the playoffs in a freak year.
Yep.
I mean, they still had a great record.
Yep.
They were winning. They were way over 500.
I do still think, though, if Favre never got hurt, the Jets would have had a run.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got that. You've got,
if he didn't show his penis to that girl either.
First 4 games, they're not there. And they go 3-1. And they lost to Buffalo when they were using their third-string quarterback with a busted, torn-up ligament thumb.
With no Rob Gronkowski.
With no Gronk.
I mean, he was out on the field.
He was out,
decoy,
but he played 2 or 3 series. He wasn't even there. So, they lost one of those 4 games. Then they came back and just... I mean, they could have ran the table.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't that Seattle game.
Yeah.
I mean, they got, down to the goal line. And
they honestly, to me, they should be 18-1. They should not have lost that game in Buffalo.
Right.
I would have given them... It could have really gone either way, that Seattle game.
Yep.
With or without Brady.
Right.
Without Brady, it would have been an easy win for them. But with Brady, it could have gone either way. They shouldn't have lost that Buffalo game.
No.
And they wouldn't have had Garoppolo been in there.
Right.
But that being said, the image that I think that changed the season for me, like with them, where I'm like, shit, this guy means business, is when Belichick slammed that tablet in frustration and at Buffalo, because they were acting week 4 was the freaking Super Bowl for them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bills fans. How's that feel?
But, there's just been so many times where, the Patriots have been written off, or Brady's been written off. Like last year. 2 years ago when they went to the Super Bowl and beat Seattle. 2 years ago, they went and beat Seattle in the Super Bowl in a season where they were teetering around 500 and looking like, maybe they should start Garoppolo, bench Brady.
That was when he got benched in the Kansas City game.
And they were like, maybe he should start the next game. And Belichick said no. They called a team meeting, and then they took off from there and won the Super Bowl. I mean, it just... Guy's a killer.
Well, they've played different football really since that point.
Yeah.
Even the season that they didn't go to
they
last
lost
year,
to Peyton Manning and the Broncos on the road.
The Patriots were still playing different football.
And it was a ball that was just off the tips of Gronkowski.
Right.
I mean, there was that close to them winning and probably winning again.
Right. So...
7 Super Bowl trips. I mean, how do you deny?
Well, here's some other fun facts for you. The 5th Super Bowl trophy in the Brady-Belichick era, we know this, I already covered that. But the Patriots as a team, as a franchise, the most Super Bowl appearances by one team at 9. One in the 80s, one in the 90s, the rest, in
Belichick and Brady.
in the Brady-Belichick era. So,
First two didn't work out very well.
I am a division. I am a fan of a team in the same division.
Same division. It's tough,
and it sucks from that aspect. But the adult side of me is like, you gotta respect it. You just gotta.
You gotta respect.
You know what I mean?
Man.
I can't. And there was one thing. I was on the Better Live Than Dead podcast earlier this week, and Ryan Wolf, a Bills fan, I joined. It was him. It was me, a Jets fan, and Eric Eminon, who is a Patriots fan. And Ryan introduced us and said, here is a, happy Patriots fan and Eric Eminon, and here's a not so happy, non-Patriots hater in John. And I'm like, well, actually, you know what? I hate myself for saying this, but I'm actually okay with this, because it's not often that you see this kind of play and this kind of longevity of success. I mean, you have to go back to the 49ers of the late 80s and early 90s, and then there's a big stretch, and then you've got this. So,
right.
I mean, it's crazy. But now the Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh.
Some news here. Offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan. He is now the new HC of the SF 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
So in his place, Alabama's Steve Sarkisian.
The drunk guy.
He's the new offensive coordinator for the Dirty Birds. So I ask you this, Brandon.
Offense? Yeah, I'll have a beer.
How does each team respond to this? Is Atlanta, are they poised for another run? Are they going to have the Cam Newton-like Super Bowl hangover and be the Dirty Birds we all know and love? Or do they have something there? Because you know what, the amazing Edelman catch aside, Julio Jones is scary good.
He had 4 catches.
He had four targets. Two of those catches. Is that more him, or is that Matt Ryan, or is that the Patriots defense?
I think it was partly Patriots defense, but I mean, you got a guy who's gotten off for 300 yards in a game. And 250 plus a number of other times. How do you only target him 4 times? I just don't know. I honestly, I don't know, but I gotta say, I think that the 49ers are going to be all right. But I think the Falcons are going to struggle a little bit. I think Shanahan's offense was tailor-made for the guys that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really look at Steve Sarkisian as a big offensive guru. Mm-hmm. I mean, he took over for Lane Kiffin in that national championship game, and they lost. He wasn't really great at USC, so I'm not really sure what the big deal is and why this guy was... highly sought after by Dan Quinn. I mean, unless he knows him, or
maybe that's the case.
Some pictures. I don't know, but
I'm not overly sure.
I mean, the 49ers are going to be a train wreck regardless of who's coaching them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bill Walsh come back from the grave, and still the 49ers are not going to be good because they just don't have a quarterback right now, and they don't have a lot of talent anywhere else either.
Right.
Defense is okay, but rest of the team's kind of depleted.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But I think the Falcons, I think they're going to struggle with this. Some people always say it's a big motivator, and if you look at Green Bay the season after they had that thing happen, they weren't as great as we thought we were going to have coming running out of the gates after they lost that championship game to Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Came out kind of flat, and they had to have a rally.
Mm-hmm.
They had to have the relax rally, to get them going, and it didn't really get them very far.
I want to say, it's funny you mentioned Green Bay, because after their Super Bowl win, the season after, they followed it up with 10-0.
Right.
And coasted right through their division and
had the
13-0. 13-0, and then they had the first round bye, and then they lost.
Right. The goddamn Giants. That
is the best case scenario, I think, for the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think we're going to see that at all. I don't know that they're going to be as terrible as the Carolina Panthers were this year,
right,
in their Super Bowl hangover. But I'm making an early season prediction right now. Carolina's going to win the division. That particular division.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be by a whole lot. I think that division itself is probably going to have its proverbial wake-up call now. And they're going to be pretty much back to kind of hovering, 9-7, 8-8, 7-9 kind of deal. I think this was an anomaly for the teams in that division. I as much as behind the Dirty Birds as I was and playing that stupid song that you hated,
but I just don't.
This was a different year.
I don't think they're going to take off and just dominate.
Right. Bills fans, Tom Brady's not retiring, despite his wife asking him. His wife legitimately asked him, "Tom, I think you should retire."
Tom says, in Tom fashion, heck no.
No. He said that. He said hell no. He actually said hell no to Terry Bradshaw. But to his wife, he said, "Sorry, babe, I'm having too much fun."
Yeah.
He legit said that, which is funny. And also, Robert Kraft put out a message saying that only he and Bill Belichick know when Bill Belichick will be retiring from the game.
Oh, he's going to retire when Brady retires.
That's what I was going to ask you.
They're going to ride tandem horses off in the sunset.
Do you think that when Brady calls it a career, that's when Belichick does? Or do you think he's... Or what I was going to ask was, do you think that, or do you think he's going to kind of pull a Greg Popovich? He didn't ride off into the sunset with Tim Duncan. He's still coaching. But...
I don't know. NFL coaching is a big strain. And to have that much success... It's a risk. Mm-hmm. It's a risk because if he goes and say, okay, Brady retires, and they shit the bed, they're going to be like, well, Belichick's legacy is a little tainted because he couldn't do it without Brady. Mm-hmm. But if he does do it, and he does do it well, and he does okay with Garoppolo, then it just adds to his resume and say, yeah, he's just a great coach.
You think they'll keep Garoppolo?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Cleveland's going to give up the farm for him.
I don't.
Or a quarterback needy team.
Cleveland is not going to give up the number one pick for it.
They're Cleveland. They do stupid things.
There's a guy out there that's more NFL proven and ready to go out there.
Jay Cutler?
No, Tony Romo that somebody will try to trade for.
Yeah. Okay.
Plus, I think teams are going to be a little more careful after seeing what Brock Osweiler did. I don't think they're going to say, "Oh well." Jimmy Garoppolo had 3 solid games, 2.5 solid games, two and a quarter actually. He only played a quarter of that game where he hurt his shoulder.
Quarter and a half.
Yeah, so he didn't even play much of that game. We saw what happened with Matt Flynn. I just don't trust that someone's gonna give the farm up for.
If anybody would do it, it would be Cleveland.
Yeah, I just don't see Cleveland giving up that one pick. Hopefully. I think Hugh Jackson is looking at Deshaun Watson and going, yeah, I want that guy in my system.
You think they're going to have Deshaun Watson? You think they're going to go Deshaun Watson?
I think so. I think they will. I don't think that there's another quarterback in there.
Not Trubisky? Or
No.
Kaiser?
Kaiser maybe. But Watson did really well in college, but his season was pretty good, but that national title game, I mean, look what it did for Vince Young's career. He got him drafted really high.
He got on the cover of Madden.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't see the Browns giving up the number 1 overall pick for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Moving on, but staying sort of in the same topic as far as the Super Bowl goes.
There's also A.J. McCarron, too, that most people are going to be looking for. Too.
I want the Jets to get him.
Yeah.
They won't, but we'll talk. We'll talk.
You got that other Alabama quarterback, didn't you, for a little while? That hairy arm guy who was that backup for a while.
Greg McElroy?
Yeah. Bum.
All right, so the Super Bowl ratings, Brandon?
Down. Roger Goodell's ego? Down.
It started off with, "Get ready, America." Not my podcast. But the Donald Trump interview with Bill O'Reilly. The interview was dismal compared to Obama's previous interviews, which Trump will probably dispute. Trump's interview had 12.2 million viewers, and in comparison, President Obama's first interview in 2009 brought in 21.9 million viewers, followed by 18 million in 2014,
Well, he's got pictures to prove that there was more than 12 million people watching it.
16.4 million in 2015, and 14.9 million in his final year last Super Bowl. The game.
No one wants to listen to that turd talk.
No, nobody does.
He has nothing interesting to say.
The game itself, 45.3 rating, which is good on paper. That's 50% of the households, I believe, is what it boiled down to. But it is down from last year's 46.6 rating and down 2% from the Patriots' last Super Bowl win 2 years ago. 47.5 was their rating.
Well, I mean,
now there is no word. Any of these stats that I dug up here, there's no word if the the streaming situation was factored into this or not. People streaming it on their devices or tablets or whatever the hell. Listen to the radio, whatever. Is this a cause for concern for the National Football League, do you think? If their big game that they're selling 30-second commercial spots for $5 million.
Speaking of which, those commercials were dog shit.
They were awful.
There was not anything that really stood out.
No.
At all. There was nothing hilarious.
Did you like the halftime show?
I love the halftime show.
You did?
I thought Gaga was great.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, I'm a big fan. I like her a lot.
I'm not a fan. It just I thought the presentation was cool. Like when she ascended down like Sting, from WCW.
Shawn Michaels.
Or Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. That was pretty cool, but the music it wasn't my thing. I wasn't really tuned into it. And
it's hard because you got to turn it into like a mixtape when you do these halftime shows because you can't really do your whole songs or a real set. So, it becomes like a jukebox. But I thought she was great.
Is that in your all-time favorite halftime shows?
I don't know if it's an all-time favorite, but I thought it was excellent.
What's your all-time favorite?
I'll
give you mine while you think about it. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I figured you were going to go with that one.
Bruno Mars is...
Bruno Mars was probably...
Michael Jackson was 1, but 1.5 is Bruno Mars.
I'm going to go either between Bruno or Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
Springsteen was pretty...
Prince was dope,
awesome.
too.
Prince was great, too. That's another one. See...
It's tough.
I got to say Prince, probably 1, Springsteen 2, Bruno 3, MJ 4, Ray Charles 5.
Oh, Ray Charles.
The Ray Charles 3D halftime show with the California Raisins.
I forgot about that one, man.
49ers
Holy
Bengals,
shit.
baby.
Holy shit, I forgot about that one.
The Catch Part 2.
Oh,
remember Tim Crumry and that broken leg?
man.
That was a good Super Bowl, man.
And finally, as far as the Super Bowl is concerned, do you rank this past Super Bowl as the greatest Super Bowl of all time?
That I've watched, yeah.
You think? Okay.
Just based on the magnitude of the comeback, for 1. But for 2, you're seeing an all-time great go out and just engineer something that, by all intents and purposes, was impossible.
Right.
I mean, they had a 0.4 chance of winning going into the fourth quarter. And they won that game.
Yes.
Yes, there's some things that have to happen, like... the strip sack by Hightower.
Edelman's wacky catch.
The Falcons, for some reason, not running the ball on third down.
I don't understand
closer
that.
For a field goal.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I do believe if they would have kicked that field goal, they didn't have that error, it would have been it.
Yeah, they would have won, but they just didn't. So, I mean, it took a wacky catch for them to lose that perfect season. With the David Tyree catch. That was improbable. It only seemed fitting that Brady had that improbable run to get to the end of it. I think it was the best just because of the dramatics. It went to overtime. I mean, to have to get to 19 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that's a field goal, 2 touchdowns, and 2 extra 2-point conversions. That's a lot to do in a quarter.
Yep.
When another team does get the football.
Yes.
That's a lot to do if you just get the football.
Exactly. But if anybody can do it, and I said this on Better Live Than That earlier this week, it's not like the last name on that jersey was Fitzpatrick. Right. It's Brady.
It's Brady.
So when my 12-year-old stepson, who's the Patriots fan, is all bummed and is like, we're going to lose, and I look at him and I say, Trust me, I've seen this
Trust
before.
me, Brandon said it on the podcast that Brady was going to have the ball last and win the Super Bowl.
I said if anybody can get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion twice, it's the Patriots, it's Tom Brady. Don't give up on your team.
Did that kid lose it when it happened, or was he not even watching?
He, I think he was more in shock. Like he couldn't believe because
I jumped off my couch.
He already,
going bananas.
he already threw the game away, and me, the one who constantly slams the Patriots to him as the Jets fan, the fan of the lesser team, is telling him, dude, watch your team and just watch what's going to happen. I've seen this before.
End, man.
I think at that point he was just flat out stunned that what I said happened.
Right.
So
yeah, it was crazy, man.
But he was actually very
before that. My favorite Super Bowl was the Bengals 49ers because it was a well played game. I mean, Jerry Rice was an animal in that game. But just the story behind it, like they get into that final drive. The Bengals are up. They're poised to win their first Super Bowl. They're ready to go. Boomer had a good drive to give them the lead. And then Montana comes out, and he comes in the huddle, and and they're like, all right, what's the play? And he goes, hey, John Candy over there?
Candy's up there.
And Randy Cross turns around and goes, yeah, I think it is. And he's like, and then after that, he just called the play, and they just coolly just went down the field. I mean, watching Brady was like watching Montana. And this was a bigger circumstance. It was a bigger mountain to climb than Montana's one drive. He also had Jerry Rice out there, which Tom Brady did not. So as far as Super Bowls and dramatics go, and the fact that it went to overtime for the first time ever, it was probably the best one I've seen.
Okay. But
at least the fourth quarter on.
It was the best one you've seen, but is it the best one ever?
Best one ever? I don't know. That's hard to say.
See, for me, I would rank the best one ever. Again, I use the 1 and 1.5 when I was talking halftime shows.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same thing again. This past Super Bowl was 1.5 for me.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it was so completely one-sided.
Yeah.
And then with quite literally a quarter and a half left to play in the game, they made up and scored all those points to take it into overtime.
Right.
And that's just exceptional. That makes it 1.5 for me. What doesn't make it 1 is the fact that years prior, they were undefeated headed into there to complete the perfect season. Either way, that Super Bowl to me would have been the greatest one way or the other, because either the Patriots would have completed the perfect season.
Yeah.
And did what they set out to do, or the perfect season wouldn't have happened, and it would have been thwarted. And because of the way it was thwarted and how it was done to a total underdog Giants team, that to me, that magnitude, I think, supersedes what just happened. It's just me. That's what makes that Super Bowl the best. But then this one is so close behind it. 1.5 for me. So
yeah.
I guess I'm cheating.
Say Seattle and Pittsburgh.
Seattle. Oh God, no.
I was gonna slap you upside the head and say, "Boy, you got that CTE going."
Oh, nope.
That was the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen.
Sucked.
That was the worst Super Bowl
Pretty sure.
If you want to ask which one's the worst, that was the worst.
You got up and left.
I did,
and I ended up playing video games.
Yeah, it was that bad.
But we all figured out that Jerome Bettis was really from Detroit.
Yeah. Thank God for that day.
All right. Couple quick notes here. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Antonio Brown wants to, quote, rebuild the trust in Pittsburgh. He wants to be a Steeler for life. He's talented, but is he worth the headache if he doesn't?
That's usually what a guy says just before he leaves or gets asked for a trade.
Yeah. And finally,
they say, I want to be a whoever for life.
Yeah. C. Revis, Darrell.
Yeah.
Speaking
or Marshall, Brandon. Twice.
Speaking of those two, the Jets hire Jeremy Bates as their quarterback coach.
Who?
Now, who's Jeremy Bates, you ask?
Master's brother?
He was originally the Jets quarterbacks coach in 2005 on Herman Edwards' staff, and he's back for his second stint with the team, only after 4 years away from the game. Go Jets. We'll be right
Well, at
back.
least he's not a descendant of U.S. Bates.
Jesus Christ. All right, we'll be right back.
U.S.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this podcast. If you're looking to support this podcast and this network, visit shopgear.com. That's shopgere.com. It will take you right to amazon.com, to your Amazon account, and you can do all of your Amazon shopping. The difference is using our link versus going to Amazon's link is that you are telling Amazon that Gear Network referred you, and they end up giving us a small percentage of your purchase, which helps out this program and this network entirely. And of course, if Amazon's not your thing, it's understandable. On gearnetwork.com, G-E-R-E network.com, if you click on the top bar that says donate to Gear, there's several different PayPal buttons. You can donate to us as well if Amazon isn't your thing. Your support is vital to helping the Gear Network maintain this programming, this quality programming, and continuing our growth through the year. As always, thank you very much for your support and your listens and your downloads and your likes and your shares from all of us here at the Gear Radio Network.
All right, give me a test.
Como te amo.
That's the most Spanish
Baseball.
I have ever heard you speak.
Baseball.
Ever. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that.
And a little what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Dawn, is a real humdinger.
Humdinger.
Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I am Ryan Wolf,
it's Mr. Perez.
and I have a question for you, Perez.
What's your question?
Do you like to listen to people talk about sports?
No. Of course I like sports and listening to people talk about sports.
Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution for
You
you.
have a solution for me?
There's a podcast
Okay.
on this very network.
This network?
Every single week you can hear it.
Really?
New content, latest and breaking news. We talk about baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, UFC, whatever you want to talk about.
So sports in general.
They talk about sports in general. You got
Okay.
it.
I like
you
it.
know the dictionary.
I like
very,
it.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
I must say, tune in. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
Every single week. You're not going to want to miss it. Exclusively here on the Gear Radio Network.
One of the national pastime went on trial. We're talking baseball. Klazuski, Campanella talking baseball.
Oh, God. I can't even. I don't know why I just started. Oh, man. When we're off the air, folks, we crack jokes. And all season,
Mickey and the Duke.
All season, we try to get each other to laugh off there and whatever. And I don't know, Brandon, you've been pretty spot on the past couple of weeks as I'm clicking
I got
ready to go.
95% rate.
Unbelievable. All right, welcome back to our podcast, everybody. And yes, as you can hear from the music in the background, we are... Thank you. We're talking baseball to come back in. So, Brandon, it's finally humming.
That's a great song, but I still think the good old hockey game is way better.
The good old hockey game?
Yeah.
You know what? Before we go into
Classic
talking
one.
baseball, I'm hoping that my intention is for you to throw a little salt at this person here. We are on a Facebook group.
Uh-huh.
And you posted a picture of the last team to not choke the championship game or something like that. And
That was Crosby.
You got quite a bit of response to that post, particularly about the game of hockey itself. Why is it that people, one, dismiss hockey as just a Canadian game, and it's not. It's a worldwide game now. What the hell, Brandon?
I
Defend hockey. Defend
I
hockey
can't
right now.
even, I want to punch the shit out of all those little turd monsters about killing hockey. To quote the great Jason Mewes from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, when he was looking at the internet and people were talking about him.
What the fuck
And
is
he
the
was
internet?
gonna go, and he was gonna say to it, he's like, "I'm gonna kill all those little fucks." That's how I felt. I wanted to go and grab Gutierrez and just slit him. Because it's just garbage. When people start dismissing it as, oh, it's just a hockey, it's just a Canadian game. Well, basketball is carrying Canada too, shithead. You don't have a problem adopting that, do you?
Right.
No, hockey to me is the best sport.
But for those, for those that are not, that are either just not there yet, or why is it the best sport?
That's what I was going to get to.
Oh, okay.
First of all,
I'm just trying to throw salt.
it's fast.
The wound.
It is so fast. It is much faster than any other game. It's got a constant pace to it. It's not a lot of, get hit, roll around, get into a huddle, switch, teams on the sideline, go to commercial. No, it is a game that is constantly in motion. It's fast. It's quick. It's sharp. The uniforms are dope.
The action.
The physicality, the fact that you can fight.
They don't
You can't do that in any other game.
Nope.
MLB, suspended.
Lacrosse you can, but lacrosse has such a small following.
Right. It's
kind of sad. I like lacrosse,
it's
honestly.
getting bigger, but it's not anywhere near the four majors. Discount the fact that it's an international game. I think that's kind of neat because you're actually playing against the best in the world. Whereas here, you're playing against the best in America. That's like saying you are the smartest kid in the world when you play in a classroom of like 50 people. Like, you have 50 kids in your class, it doesn't make you the smartest person in the world.
There's a Betsy DeVos joke there somewhere.
Yeah. So, again, there's just so much to it.
bitch.
These guys get hit, okay? You got a guy speeding at you, flying down the ice, and he crushes you into the boards. You don't get hit into air and then fall to the ground, or get hit in the air and then land on the ground. These guys get hit, they hit the ice, they get back up, and they fly down the ice and continue. These guys are grinders.
They're double tough.
And they play 82 games a season. NFL, they're like, 16 games. And they're complaining it's too long. The simple fact that you've got to skate, that's so much harder than running. You got to do that skill. And then on top of that, you've got guys cycling in on every other shift. And they play offense and defense. You have that in basketball. You sort of have that in baseball. Everybody plays both ways. Football, you don't. You have offense, you have defense, and you have special teams. So you have three groups that play the game. But yet hockey gets no run. It has everything Americans love. It has blood. It has violence. It has fighting. It's fast. What I just don't understand what people have such a problem with, because it's Canadian. Who gives a shit? You like Canadian beer?
I don't want to play the race card, but I think it has something to do with that, with the demographics that.
Believe it or not, there are a lot of black dudes that love hockey.
I'm sure there are.
It's crazy.
I'm sure there are, but
it's white dudes that usually are like, fuck hockey.
It's not marketed to urban youth.
It is. That's what you don't know.
Okay.
These guys in these inner cities, these teams, these NHL teams, they go and they donate time, money, resources to get into inner city neighborhoods to say, hey, you guys can play too. Like, this is not just a, Canadian game. This is not just an elite rich game. This is a game everyone can play. And if you can't afford, to get the equipment for hockey, because it is kind of expensive to start up, these guys give it to you. I've seen a number of stories on this stuff.
Okay.
Hockey players are very involved in their community. They do. I mean, it's mandatory that they participate in local charities and they give their time to youth camps and different things like that. But a lot of these guys, it doesn't have to be mandatory. A lot of these guys do it on their own time.
Mm-hmm.
Sidney Crosby runs his own academy every summer, and he works with kids all over the place.
I wish that I could see something like that from the Sabres here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In Rochester, it would be great. Yes,
it would
they do it in Buffalo.
It would be really nice.
They do it in Buffalo. And on top of that, hockey players in general are usually really good guys. Like, they're strong, they're physical, they're tough, but you don't hear them getting into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't beating their wives. They aren't getting divorced. Most of them are married and stay married throughout their careers. They're family people. They're always, you see them at the All-Star games and stuff. They got their kids out on the ice with them. They make it a family thing. The organizations do that. There's like the father's road trip.
No, right. I can point out to you
There's so
now.
much
in the
good.
past 3 years,
Yeah.
you can name multiple people from the NFL.
Right.
Domestic violence. Greg Hardy.
Right.
Ray Rice. Whoever that kid that's supposed to be drafted this year.
Oh, yeah.
Him.
Adrian Peterson beating kids.
Adrian Peterson. So there's 4 for you right there.
Yeah.
NHL. There's Patrick Kane. There's the Patrick Kane incident.
He was accused. There was that Slava Voinov guy from L.A. who had a domestic dispute with his wife, and the Kings cut him immediately. Mm-hmm. He's not playing for anyone.
Yeah,
He's done.
they don't tolerate that.
They don't.
I am
striking, you're out.
I am not on the hockey is the best sport bandwagon, but I
Yeah.
really like hockey.
It's great.
So
You can make it a 1A.
You know what I mean?
It's more exciting than baseball, and I think it's more fun than basketball. Basketball is fun around playoff time, but honestly, NHL, man,
Yeah. Yep.
it's wild. It's the best
agree.
playoff system too.
Okay. Back to talking baseball.
Oh, baseball. Just kidding. I like baseball.
The teams for the World Baseball Classic.
Yes.
First of all, spring training in 2 weeks, finally.
Woo!
Awesome. Got to get that MLB.TV renewed, by the way.
Yeah, you do.
Yes. Next month starts the World Baseball Classic, and Teams USA their position players are as follows. First, they're managed by Jim Leland. Catchers, A.J. Ellis, Jonathan LaCroix, and your boy, Buster Posey.
That's where it's at.
Infielders, Nolan Ariando,
Yeah, he's solid.
Alex Bregman, Matt Carpenter, Brandon Crawford,
Yeah, buddy.
Paul Goldschmidt, and Eric Hosmer. Oh, over here too, Ian Kinsler and Daniel Murphy.
Okay.
The outfielders, Adam Jones, Andrew McCutcheon, Giancarlo Stanton, Christian Yelich.
Yeah.
Right now, it only just shows me the position players. I really don't want to press the button to play the video. But as far as the pitchers go, I do know that Andrew Miller was his name.
Yeah.
He was named in there. Just from what I can see right now, right here, this is a very, very deep and stacked USA team for the WBC.
I feel like we say this every year, and it doesn't go that way. I want to see the U.S. do something, and I think that's why it's struggling so much.
I do. This is, I believe, the youngest I've seen the team.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first World Baseball Classic team you had, your
David Wright,
Roger
Derek
Clemens, Derek Jeter. I mean, Derek Jeter was on the first 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of the older players, and then like some minor leaguers that were, whatever. But this is like an actual all-star team.
Yep.
From both leagues. I like the United States' chances. I'm going to be interested to see this because this has been rumored to be the last World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, because the ratings are not great, because usually the U.S., which is like the group that most people are watching, especially since the games are played here in the U.S.,
right?
They're never around when it comes to the finals. They're not even like the quarters of the semis. They always get knocked out early. I think if they make a good run and if they win it, or they're at least in that title game, I think it'll garner more interest and it may get another year.
The games will be at Marlins Park, Tokyo Dome, Gochiak Sky Dome in Seoul, Estado Charros de Jalisco.
That's Seoul, Korea.
Seoul, whatever. Seoul. I don't care.
Junior Seoul?
Yeah. Safe home, Junior Seoul. Petco Park, and the championship round will be at Dodgers Stadium.
Oh,
your favorite place in the world.
Vomit.
And the complete coverage, including schedules, video, stats, and gear, will be available at worldbaseballclassic.com and or MLB.tv.
Did they make any big changes to their lids this year? I might pick one up.
I don't know. I haven't.
I have the one from 4 years ago, and it's nice.
All right.
Blue, got the
Now,
US on
Brandon,
it.
you had mentioned, and I just added this on here, so you're going to. I didn't have time to do the full research on this. I vaguely heard about some potential new baseball rules. You made some mention of it. What's to that?
There's a new campaign possibly going, and efforts that they continue to make to try to make the game faster. Is that they want to start extra inning games with a runner on second with nobody out. So you've got a runner in scoring position to start the game or start the inning in hopes that, extra inning games will end in the 10th, possibly the 11th. I don't know how I like that. I mean, who do you decide goes there?
Right.
The last guy that made an out?
Right.
Do you get to use a pinch runner? What's the deal with that? I don't know. I don't think it's a great thing. Manfred's trying because he's trying to make his mark because, his predecessor made a lot of marks, and I think he's trying to do something to, get his name in there. And the biggest complaint a lot of people have is the speed of the game. Mm-hmm. He's trying a lot of stuff, but it's just, I don't know. A lot of it's hokey.
I am a fan of the.
That's the hat, by the way.
Huh?
That's the hat, by the way.
That's a nice looking hat.
It's got the flag on the side.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I like the red brim. I have a blue one. It looks just like this.
Okay.
It's all navy.
All right.
I don't know.
I don't think it's terrible. I am a fan of what they've done in the minor league level.
Yes.
With the pitch clock and the inning clock.
It was a lot more. It moved a lot quicker.
It did.
Going Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like that aspect.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good, that would be a good system for Major League Baseball to implement. Starting extra innings with a runner on base.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I don't either.
One that I did hear, now that I think about it, is possibly changing the strike zone. And right now it's beneath the knee, just beneath the knee.
Yeah, which rarely gets called.
They're thinking of raising it to just above the knee. And the idea is that they will get more people to swing.
Yeah.
Which would then, induce more ground balls, more outs, and speed up the game that way. Pipe dream?
I don't know. I don't like jerking with things that have been there forever. Like, the game's not in that bad a shape. It's not like, nobody's watching.
Right.
They're not making any money. They're making a lot of money. People are watching. These regional contracts are insane, the amount of money that these teams get. You get gate for you get 81 games, home games, that you get gates for. And that's a lot of home games.
Yeah.
And even if you're charging like $30 for the average ticket to go to an MLB game, which we know the closer seats are not, but if you just base it on the average for the park, $30 a ticket, you times that by, 20,000 that you can put in there for most of the seats, 25,000. So you're making, just on gate, $750,000 in a game. Then you throw in concessions.
That would be $600. This is just on tickets alone. $600,000.
Yeah,
a game. Then you multiply that by 81. You said 81 home games.
Well, I was saying 25,000, but yeah,
yeah. You're looking at
25,000 seats, $30 a ticket.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, yes, you get that, but then you're going to throw in merchandise because people buy stuff all the time when they go to the ball games. I know I do. Then you talk about concessions. The concessions are so much higher than it actually costs for things there, but people buy that stuff because they're going to the ball yard.
You get a beer.
Who doesn't want to go get a cold one for for $9? Most of the time, you look at the grocery store and go, F that. But for some reason, when we go to a ball game, we're like, $8, okay. I'll buy 3.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
Spend $45 on beer in one night.
It's the experience.
And then, you get food. And they've got all these custom craft foods, and they've got gourmet chefs now at these ballparks.
I mean, you look like even
everything.
in the minor league level. You look at Red Wings. At the Red Wings, they have like the roast beef place, and you can
Red
get a
Osier,
plate
yeah.
there. Red Osier's awesome. I can't believe the name escaped me, but you can get you can get your traditional hot dogs. You can get a garbage plate. You can get this. You can get this. You can get all sorts of crap.
Right.
There. And so yeah, I would imagine at the bigger stadiums you could get a hell of a lot more.
You can. So I mean, you get all that gate for 81 games. These guys are probably pulling in, and they pay their workers like a minimum wage when they're working in there at the vending places. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're probably pulling like close to $1 million, $2 million a game,
Roughly.
in some places.
Roughly, yes.
You're pulling that per
Yankees
game
much more.
81 times. You know, that you've got that. And then you add in the fact that you get these advertisements. People pay to put their advertisements up in your park. Then you got naming rights. And then you've got the advertisements that play during your games. And then on top of that, you've got now these local exclusive regional broadcasts of the teams.
Right.
And they're getting paid a ton of money for that. So if a team has a salary, let's say most average MLB teams, I'm not talking about the top tiers, the San Francisco's, the Yankees, Giants, Red Sox. Those guys are in the hundreds, 100 plus for payroll. The average guys are in the 60 to 90 area, okay? They're making that just on gate. You throw all that other stuff in there, these teams have money coming out the ass. Plus, they have the revenue sharing from the luxury tax.
Right.
So, you know, I just don't see how much more are they going to squeeze out of that cow?
I think, and I agree with you, I do think they should do some things, but again, it's the clock thing. Like, I'm really a big fan of the clock thing. Bring that to the major league level.
Background though, you're not going to be like
right, exactly.
The TV watching and seeing the pitch clock in there, like you're watching ESPN and they've got the shot clock posted up there.
Right.
That's going to just be part of the game where it's going to be behind the scenes.
Right. Right.
But starting a runner at second,
that's silly. And
that's
changing the strike
dumb.
zone. And you know what? Again, being 2 weeks out from
these umpires have a hard enough time doing what they're doing as it is.
Right.
Now you're going to take these guys who've been doing this for years and say, "Hey, it's going to change now."
Well, if they're going to change something, they need to do it relatively soon, because with spring training, the World Baseball Classic, and all that stuff starting in literally 2 weeks. They can't just drop it midway through there and just be like, "Hey, by the way, we're going to change the strike zone and we're going to do this." You know what I mean?
Next thing they're going to do is they're going to be doing like your youth baseball when you were a shorter player and you had two outfielders and you had that rover. You can start extra innings with a minus a player. You only get to put 8 out on the field.
Yeah. I was a little league coach last year. Believe me, I know all about those, all that stuff.
Hey, who's the fastest out here? Benny the Jet. You're playing the outfield. Where? All of it. Do your best you can, son.
I am. Yeah.
Holy cow!
Fun times.
Horse.
All right, we're getting to the end. Close to it. Oh. The New Jersey Nets. They are the next team.
Brooklyn Nets?
Yes. Why did I say New Jersey Nets?
They used to play in New Jersey?
I know. The Brooklyn Nets are the next team to have advertisements on their jerseys.
Yeah.
They have a deal with software firm Infer, and the Nets join Boston, which is sacrilege, Sacramento, and Philadelphia as the first set of teams with patches on their jersey. It's a sad truth, but that is where we are headed in sports, Brandon.
I know the NHL's talking about it too.
I am a traditionalist.
I am too.
I am not happy with that.
I like uniforms the way they are.
You know, I don't want to buy a replica jersey with a GE logo on it.
Yeah, me
You know
neither,
what
man.
I mean? I don't want that crap.
I don't need that.
So, and you know the Chinese will put it on there too.
Authentic GE patch.
It'll be EG, but anyways. The Arizona Coyotes. Brandon, they've toured arenas in Seattle and Portland.
Yeah.
They, of course, have denied this claim, but it was it was confirmed. They've looked at the Key Arena, former home of the Seattle Supersonics, and the Moda Center in Portland. The Sonics fan in me would want them, if they're going to go anywhere, to go to Seattle.
Right.
But the Flames fan in me really couldn't care less. So the only thing I really want for Seattle, honestly, is for them to bring back the Sonics. And the last known status is that a return to Seattle for the NBA is, quote, a top priority.
Oh.
That was back in October.
Oh, well.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so as we say goodbye to the NFL season, Brandon, what are you going to miss most about having football on, I guess?
Dilly's thrown out on the field.
Yes. Yes.
The constant shit show that comes out of Buffalo every week. That's what I'm going to miss most. Like, seeing what they did at the tailgating of their home game this week.
The dildo on the field, quite frankly, the greatest.
Probably the highlight of the season.
The absolute
Until
highlight.
the Super Bowl happened.
Congratulations,
probably the
Bills
most
fans.
exciting moment of the year.
Of the regular season, you own the greatest moment. And damn, I wish I would have thought about that, because I would have had the call on the field of the flag that they thought, and they were kicking it off.
You know what would have been great, too, is to get that dilly going on the field in many angles and in slow motion, and play that One Moment in Time song with it in the background.
I literally laughed for 3 days about that.
Stop.
I laughed for 3 days
I'm like,
about
all
it.
right, I know. Listen, I'm a grown adult. I handle my business. I pay my bills. I raise 2 kids. I do all this stuff. But I couldn't stop laughing at the dildo thrown on the field.
When it got to, I saw,
like, this can't be funny, right?
I saw a Twitter. I first discovered it on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then the video came. And then I watched it, and then I cried.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to you. And then you cried. And then I kept, and mind you,
we cried in separate rooms.
all
just
of
so
the
worried.
Yes. All of the football games on my TV, and the only thing that I'm watching on a loop is this dilly getting thrown on the field. So Dawn walks in, the co-host of Get Ready America, and my wife, and the executive producer. She walks in, and she's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "You don't want to know." And she's like, "It's probably something stupid, isn't it?" And I was like, "Watch." So she watches, and then she looks at me and sees tears streaming down my face, jaw unhinged, laughing, and is like, "Seriously, you're fucking stupid," is what she said. Then
I thought she was going to say, "Hey, I recognize that."
Shut up, Brandon.
You have one just like that in your ass.
We went HBO this week, folks. Sorry.
Oh, they're going to like it. You know what? I think people love curses. They say smarter people do curse.
Well, yes,
I mean,
it's true.
It's true.
It's true. I guess if we're not on terrestrial radio, whatever. But
right,
you don't want to. But you don't want to.
You know who's going to find us? Roger Goodell.
Oh,
he's got to get some victory.
Oh, fuck you, Roger Goodell.
He's got to get some victory.
How
about that next day conference? Too,
shop on shopgear.com, Roger Goodell, and then I'll forgive you.
Did you see him treat Brady like the principal was like pulling him in the office? Like Brady wanted to just talk and be done with it, and he's like, "Nah, come take pictures." And he's like, "I don't know, fucking take a picture with you." He drags him over, and Tom's just like, "Hey, you got some nice ones? All right, good. It's done."
Yeah. I don't.
And then he saltily walks up. "Floor's all yours, Tom," and then he saunters away. I'm like,
you could just tell. You could just tell that he would rather have been anywhere. He would have rather been anywhere but there.
Oh yeah, because he was dancing a jig up in his little private box when they were getting smoked. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I've avoided the biggest freaking travesty I could have had in my entire career as commissioner. Thank you, Atlanta Falcons. He's doing the dirty bird. He's calling up Dan
He's dancing
Reeves,
he's dancing the Julio.
Him and Jamal Anderson are up in the booth just having a laugh. He's like, your boy saved me. Jamal, I'm going to appoint you to some position of power in this front office and of the NFL. And then all of a sudden it just went south. And I just wish I could see like a live stream of Goodell's emotions.
Well, I posted that picture of him stone-faced.
It was totally stone-faced.
That was an old picture. But I
would have loved to have seen.
How about the fact that Tom Brady filmed a commercial?
Yeah, like 5 months prior, saying that he already had his 5 rings.
He already had his 5 rings and ended it with Roger that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great.
You know, and then Gronk wearing the T-shirt. And then who was it?
Matt Patricia.
Patricia had the
clown.
The clown, yeah. It was the only thing that was not good about that whole ordeal was Bill Belichick trying to get the crowd to chant "No days off" when a million people that were there took the day off to be there. Did you hear that chant?
They're like, what?
And the crowd's like, huh? What is going on?
You want us to do what?
No days off. It's like old man yelling at cloud.
I know. Belichick was back in the office Monday morning studying the opening preseason game's team film.
He said, you know, it's great, but we're 5 weeks behind for the start of the next season. You're like, damn, dude.
I know. Let your hair down, Bill.
Well, he did on Jimmy Fallon. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
All right.
That was a long one. Ooh.
With that, yeah. It's the season finale of the Football Talk Weekly podcast. And in a couple of weeks, 2, maybe 3 weeks, 2, 3, whatever, we will be back under, same guys, same format, most likely, like you've heard tonight, where we're kind of all over the place talking different sports. Different name. I don't know what that name's going to be yet. And I'm not going to ask you, the listener, because I don't really care what you think.
Breathing heavy with JC and BG.
Oh, shut up, Brandon. No, we're not gonna go breathing. We're not gonna go breathing heavy. You nasty prick, you. All right, but no, seriously, I do care about what you listeners think. Thank you all very much. By the way, last week's numbers, the hell. That was pretty.
What if we open it up to the listeners to name the show? I will say that 2 talentless ass clowns is already trademarked, so you can't call us that.
Yeah.
But if you want to send in some suggestions for a name for these 2 dudes' shows, send it in, whatever language you're listening in. We've got Google Translate. You can translate it.
Brandon was speaking some Spanish.
I was.
although the majority of our listens came from Manassas, Virginia, Boston, and New Jersey.
Well, Boston makes sense.
Last week.
And Pat's Super Bowl.
But New Jersey and Virginia.
Manassas.
What's out in Manassas?
Michael Mara show.
Yeah.
Little cross promo.
They're not listening to us.
When are we gonna get Omaha Steaks advertised?
Omaha. All right. But anyways, listeners, thank you very much. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this particular week, for this particular brand. We will be back in very, very short, or not so short time, but not too long either. We're gonna figure this out. We will be back. Thank you very much for tuning in every week. We did good this season, Brandon. We did real good.
Yeah.
You have any parting words?
Fuck you. I mean,
oh man. All right. Someone's tired. Someone's got to get to bed. And that person's me. So, Brandon, good day to you, sir.
Good day to you as well.
So long, everybody. Good night now. Go fuck yourself, San Diego. The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.